welcome here on Kababayan Today our go-to team for all our immigration problems, Attorney Richard Loew and Attorney Allison Aquino Silva.
This American Dream segment is brought to you by Aquino and Loew Law Firm, answering your immigration questions.
Mga kababayan, don't forget our phone lines are open for all your immigration questions. Tawag na po. This is your chance to speak to our attorneys today here on the show. But let's start off with Attorney Richard. Attorney Richard, we hear that there may be upcoming changes to the impact of criminal convictions for those who are seeking legal status here in this country. Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, well, it's a little wonky. It's a lot of stuff in here, but what's really happening is this is the trickle down from the Supreme Court decision. We just yesterday had the BIA say that they're putting a hold on all these sort of criminal cases that are dealing with this case so that they can come up with their own opinion. And this is something that it can be driven by the president, so that the executive branch can push a kind of policy change onto the appellate courts within the Immigration Service. So that's a change, and it's going to be a positive change, I think, the way they are going to treat certain criminal convictions, and that's going to be helpful for immigrants, I think, down the road. So hopefully 2016 will see a good decision in favor of immigrants.
Okay, and speaking of the president, as you said, for those who may not know, today is election day here in Southern California. Many cities can vote for several school and tax measures that will directly impact all of our lives. So today also means that we are a year away from the presidential elections of 2016. So Allison, can you please share with our kababayans who are green card holders if they have enough time? Now is the time to do it because they have enough time to become citizens so that they can vote next year.
Exactly. And as you point out, civic engagement and getting involved in the political process is extremely important. Like Richard mentioned, there's a new policy regarding criminal issues. As people can see, the president had announced executive action back in 2012, 2014. So the election for president is extremely important, and it is 1 year from now, November 2016. So for green card holders who are eligible, and that's generally if you've been a green card holder for at least 3 years if you're married to a U.S. citizen, or 5 years if you got your green card through other than if you're married to a U.S. citizen, you need to apply, and you need to apply well in advance, because essentially you need to register in order to be eligible to vote. And the registration process does vary by state to state. In California, you have to register at least 15 days before an election. In Hawaii, you have to register at least 30 days before an election. So generally speaking, you need to make sure you're done with the process by, say, October of 2016. In order to do that, the process generally takes between 3 to 6 months. So you really should plan to file your application, of course, as soon as possible, but definitely no later than, say, March of 2016 to be eligible to vote in next year's election.
Okay, because Filipinos will take their time as much as possible, but please, we want to vote, right? We have to make sure that we are engaged, diba? And as I mentioned earlier, we are taking your calls, so please, tawagan niyo po kami 1-800-553-5724. Wala pong bayad yan, and our attorneys are here to answer your questions. And as we know, the holidays are coming up, and people will travel. So Richard, can you talk to us about the current status for international travel for those that are awaiting green cards? If they filed already, can they even travel, as well as DACA approved individuals?
Well, yes, there has been some changes in the law that allow people who are in the adjustment process to actually travel outside the United States during that process. They would need to get advance parole in order to do so. And normally that's done at the time that the application is filed, but it can be filed afterwards as well. And you absolutely need that if you're going to travel. You can't just file your application and travel. You need advance parole in order to do that. Most people will qualify for that, and most people will not have too many problems if they travel. But if there are any questions, you really need to have that reviewed, because it is a little bit of a gray area, and so you want to be sure that you're okay. And that same thing goes for DACA. DACA applicants can travel, although there are issues with that as well. And also, the criteria is a little bit harder. They've been looking at them a little bit more closely, wanting a little bit more evidence about the need for traveling for DACA applicants, so that you're going to have to document that a little bit more. But if you have an ill relative or some other emerging problems, you can travel back home.
Okay, so we have our first caller on the phone right now. Kasama natin si Nora from Ventura. Hello?
Hello, G.
Hi, magandang hapon po sa inyo.
Magandang hapon.
Ano po yung tanong ninyo para sa ating immigration attorneys ngayong araw na ito?
Tatanong ko lang kung halimbawa yung aking anak na pinitisyon ay maaring mapadali ang kanyang pagpetisyon kung sakaling kunin siya ng kamag-anak ko na mayroong business dito para para madali yung kanyang pagpetisyon.
Okay, so the question is, she has filed for her son to come, but it's taking a long time. But, however, she does have a relative that is opening up a business. So, some sort of investment visa, would it be faster if somebody has already petitioned the relative to come, but can it get, is the waiting time shorter for someone probably that would like to invest in a business here?
And actually, yes, and that's the first part of that question is a lot of people don't know that you can have multiple applications. And so that's the first thing that people should take from that caller is that you can have as many applications filed for you and have it processed as you're eligible for. Mm-hmm. So she can go ahead and have an employment-based petition filed for her family member, even though she already has a family-based petition, and the two will work hand in hand. And essentially, hopefully they can get some type of employment-based petition, either an investment visa, or maybe if the person's not an investor, maybe they can be sponsored as an employee of that business that's being opened up. And that way they can get a temporary visa to come into the United States, work for the business, and be waiting here for their green card based on the family-based petition, instead of waiting back in the Philippines.
Okay, well then that's good news, isn't it? Okay, we have another caller before we go to break. Si Ted Guerra mula sa North Hollywood. Ted?
Yes.
Hi, magandang hapon sa inyo.
Magandang hapon naman.
Okay, what is your question for our attorneys that are here on Kababayan Today?
Question I have is, I petitioned my adult married brother 25 years ago,
Okay.
and he has, before he received his appointment for interview, he passed away. Does that leave the petition open, good for his remaining family?
Okay. Attorney Richard.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is the kind of thing you see happen when you have waiting periods that are so long for people, particularly in the sibling category. They're beyond 20, 25 years.
Yes.
Unfortunately, when he passes, the petition is automatically revoked. However, you can request humanitarian reinstatement of that petition at the embassy and try to, once the priority date is current, try to get that approved and come in. It is just a policy that they will entertain that, so you don't have a lot of appellate rights or anything like that, but it is something that you should explore and do if that is a situation you find yourself in.
Okay. All right, magbabalik po kami dito sa Kababayan Today. We're taking your calls. Please call us at 1-800-553-5724. Magbabalik kami.